Welcome to the Creepin' It Real show, your one-stop shop for weird news, spooky, otherworldly, and paranormal shenanigans. We'll take a dive into what's going on in creepy pop culture. You can follow us on Twitter at creepin_it and like us on Facebook at the Creepin' It Real show. Do you have a paranormal story you'd like to share with us? You can email us at creepinitrealshow@gmail.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creepin' It Real show. I am 1/3 of your hosts for this day, evening, morning, whatever you are listening to. Christy, up here in the mountains of Georgia, listening to gunshots and construction. So apologize for any background noise. Yeah, there's a lot of hunting that goes on in these there hills.
Oh, wow.
Lots of hunting. And then just target practice on the side. So, we are truly in the mountains up in here. So, with that, Moni, how are you doing?
I am good. We have been on a several-week hiatus for the show, and I'm really excited to come back fresh because I've actually watched some stuff for once. And so I'm excited, and I actually documented what I was watching because I knew we were going to come back someday. So I'm excited to tell you guys what all I've been up to.
Awesome. Well, full disclosure, yes, we've been on a bit of a hiatus. It's completely my fault. I bought a house, which in theory seems just like, okay, but then I decided to take on way more than I could handle as far as the remodeling. And so when I'm not working, I'm painting and pulling up carpet and scraping up carpet glue and spray painting and doing all these crazy things that I've never done before. But hey, anything to save money. So I had to kind of step away for a little bit for the sake of sanity, but I am definitely excited that we're talking about some good stuff tonight. So with that, and Yardley, how are you doing?
I am doing good. Outside of the weather being up and down, hot and cold, everything's been great. You know, I'm excited to talk about some things that we've checked out, and pretty much like everybody, my uptick in watching stuff, whether it ends up being good or bad, is pretty much through the roof. I'm totally a Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime veteran, at this point. And, something else I found out about myself as far as watching a lot of streaming stuff, there's a lot of stuff that I turned my nose up to that ended up not being as bad, when I watched it. So, it's just it's always exciting to be with you too. And, actually looking at the show notes, apparently we've all been watching a lot of the same things.
Heck yeah.
So do you think that, that you're more susceptible to liking something out of desperation for shows, or do you think it's just that you've decided to broaden your horizons?
It's probably desperation in between shows that I actually, want to watch. But, at the same time, I think we're probably all guilty of sometimes overthinking and over wanting something to be super good or whatever. And, it just seems like when you kind of release yourself and just let the cards fall where they may, you find out that there's some stuff that, hey, there was a show called Bondage that was on Netflix. I never, I would always see it in the queue. And then Bonded. It was it's about a dominatrix that takes on an apprentice, and it goes through this journey with those two characters. And not saying that I wouldn't watch something with Bondage, it's just that I wouldn't have watched a Netflix kind of comedy about it. And then I ended up watching it, and I love the show, and I'm ready for a season 2. But yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, tonight, because again, my craziness with my life, everybody as far as the hosts were like, hey, let's play it light and easy and do just a what are we watching, what do we recommend type show. And so we're just going to chill and discuss some good shows and movies and maybe something that introduce you to something that you have not heard of. So with that, I see on the notes that Yardley is first. So you want to talk about some of the stuff that you've been watching and what you would recommend?
Yes, absolutely. Why Did You Kill Me? This is a show that premiered on Netflix, and it's an American documentary directed and produced by Frederick Monk. And this documentary follows Belinda Lane as she tracks down those involved in the murder of her daughter using MySpace. And gosh, I I remember MySpace with people posting all of this glittery stuff really did test your computer. You know what I mean? Back in
And
those
music,
days.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But this documentary was released on April 14th, and I thought it was very good. And kind of the heart of it, it shows you how things can go from 0 to 100 and how it can affect unsuspecting victims. We all know that when you watch crime shows and all of this type of stuff, there's always somebody who, drew the short straw that didn't, necessarily have something to do with all of the stuff that was jumping off. But this one will tug at you because there's certain parts of it where this young lady, she ended up getting killed, and they were using MySpace to kind of track down the people that they thought were involved. And her younger sister was posing as her, becoming friends with all of these people so that they could get information from them. And you really do kind of feel for, imagine your sister's dead, but she's on MySpace posing as her sister. And
right.
And the individuals that ended up doing it didn't even realize that the person that they killed was the person that friended them whatever
yeah.
on MySpace.
And like that one dude caught feelings for the not her person. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then the mother, well, first of all, it also will touch your heart just to know that, your parents are going to work hard. Like they tirelessly to try to find out what happened to their children, what I'm saying, after a tragedy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like the whole time I'm watching it and I'm like, man, her mom is going in, you know what I'm saying? And, I thought it was pretty good. So I definitely would recommend Why Did You Kill Me? I'm assuming that both of you had an opportunity to check it out.
I have not seen it. No, I'm excited.
Christy, I think you would like it. I watched it. I enjoyed it, although I watched it after one of my closest friends loved her to death, but she was like, you gotta watch it. That mom is a badass. And the mom is, I guess, like tough, and who wouldn't want to like do whatever it took to get justice for your kid. But there definitely was some things that she did, and you'll have to watch it and let us know what you think, Christy. But I feel like to jeopardize other people's lives unnecessarily. And it's not that the other people whose lives she jeopardized weren't trash too. I get it. But also, like, you have to think they had families that love them too. You know what I mean? So her just kind of like setting up situations where that would become dangerous for gangs was like, come on, bitch, you just lost your kid and now you're going to, like, it's one thing to kill, like, to go and kill the person who killed your daughter. I'm in. Like, I'll get in the car, I'll ride shotgun, let's do this. But, like, to set up his friends to, like, get killed so that, their families have to grieve. I was like, I'm not in for that, but it has a satisfying conclusion and it's an interesting story regardless. But as far as like, I just respectfully disagree with my friend about like, she did all the right things. I was like, nah, that's not really super fair. So anyway,
the mother that was in this doc, when she was trying to, be the super sleuth, the only individual that I think rivals her, and I actually put this guy on another level. You remember we were talking about, what was it? It was the documentary. I think it was called A Pill Mill, where the guy's son got killed on a corner in New Orleans to get drugs. And, he was a pharmacist and he ended up.
Oh, that one. Where he ended up like tracking them down and like videoing people walking in out of the pharmacy to bust them on drugs. Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he
did everything. he was like a super sleuth. Because if I'm not mistaken, one of the people that actually befriended him ended up being the person who killed his son. Right? Isn't that the same one?
I can't. You know what? I can't remember. It's been too long. Too many true crime shows.
Yeah, it's too many. But I definitely would co-sign anyone who wanted to recommend Why Did You Kill Me? Another show that I was watching, it's called Sky Rojo. Apparently I think that's supposed to translate to red leatherette. But this show, I think it's 6 episodes. It's about 3 prostitutes that end up being on the run from their pimp and his henchmen in search of freedom, so to speak. But pretty much the series deals with prostitution, trafficking, and, the grim reality of sexual exploitation. And even though the content gets heavy at some points. It does have humor and action in it. It's definitely not for kids or watching with your parents. But I'm totally in for season 2 of this. If it gets renewed, it kind of ended on sort of a cliffhanger, but it's pretty dope. Like I really did enjoy it. I think it was in the top, it might still be in the top 10 or maybe not, but I know it was for at least a week or so. But it's on Netflix and it is, I think that it's pretty good. And the prostitutes that are in it are, super hot. You know what I mean?
All right.
Even though they're at a brothel in the middle of the desert, and it's really grimy. But I think the 3 women who play those characters, I think they have a lot of chemistry. And like I said, I mean, there are a couple of things that get revealed in the latter half of the series that really do make me excited to see where it's going to go from there. So I don't know if either of you have checked that out, but you probably should, though. It's fun. Or at least I know your husbands will enjoy it if you don't.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Hey, honey, you want to watch some hot prostitutes?
Twist my arm, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. but at the same time, it's something for everybody. There's guns, there's, some prostitution in it, there's some humor, there's some sadness, you got a little bit of everything. So I would definitely recommend that. And everybody who's probably had a free subscription has probably seen Godzilla versus Kong. No summary needed, kaijus, King Kong, Godzilla. I really did love it. I wasn't at all really focusing on the human element, and it was pretty basic storyline, but I was really impressed with, the animation and the CGI, and it's King Kong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I loved it. Yeah.
It was great. And what's kind of interesting, and I thought that they stayed kind of true to form of, like, I know back in the 60s, King Kong beat, Godzilla or whatever, but, Godzilla is essentially a walking nuclear reactor. So Godzilla should win, what I mean, most of the time.
Yeah.
He's my favorite, so of course I wanted him to win. I watched it too. It was good. I really liked it.
It was good.
Yeah.
But you have to give. But at the same time, when you watch this, it's a dope battle, and obviously, Godzilla. It kind of shows who's the alpha, at least in this movie, but through attrition, like the fact that King Kong lasted as long as he did and looked, actually King Kong ends up saving the day anyway, but, that being said,
it was kind of it was a pair effort. Like at the end, it was, I couldn't even really determine a winner at the end. It was kind of an impasse, and they just had this understanding, and they both helped each other defeat the enemy, and I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Would you say that, would both of you say that they both got a W and then both of them L's at the end, and then they ended up helping each other ultimately, so I have to say this, even though, I'm a big fan of Godzilla, I've always liked King Kong because King Kong has always been the character that has been the one that had, more emotion. You know what I mean?
Right.
He can emote more.
Right.
Godzilla is just pretty much, a cardboard cutout as far as as far as emotions are concerned.
Yeah.
But you came out of this movie, or at least I did, wanting to know more about Skull Island and Kong and, where he got the axe from, and you know what I mean? Like, and what happened with that. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more of that in the Monsterverse, a little bit later on. But, I recommend this if you can get an HBO Max, 7-day subscription or whatever, their free trial. I would definitely, check that out, and then probably like binge Curb or something else. You know what I'm saying? While you're on there.
Yeah. My daughters sat down and watched Godzilla and Kong, and I was actually surprised to see the little one sit through something. But it's monsters smashing into each other. What's not to like?
That's what's up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I love Godzilla because to me he is like the guy that keeps the planet balanced per se. Like he's really into making sure that, in my mind, like when I see Godzilla and I see all these movies, like his purpose is to keep all the other, what do you call them, in line, all the other bigger, creatures in mind and in line. And then also like when there's a threat to the planet, his ass is on it. To me, he's the ultimate badass, but I was never really into Kong until this movie. So this movie got me into King Kong because, like you said, he showed a lot of emotion. He showed, I don't know. I mean, the King Kong that I remember is the one where he fell in love with the woman or whatever. And okay,
Skull Island,
so I haven't seen that. I watched a little bit of it, but again, I've just never been that into King Kong. And so this one really got in, he has that really close relationship with the kid. And I really liked his battle with Godzilla off the boat and them trying to help him because he was about to drown, and I really enjoyed it. And it got me more into King Kong. So now I want to go back and watch King Kong, the regular movies of his that are more recent.
Make sure you watch Skull Island. But that's the thing that's something that I was kind of over because the last few King Kong movies, there's been a kid, and I get it. It's for everybody, and you want everybody to be interested. But I just don't care about the sign language kid and none of that. I just,
They try to put a plot in there, like what the fuck is that? Just bash the monsters into one another. Let's go.
And the funny thing is, and it was also one of those movies where you're like, well, where the hell is your mama? Because even though Kong can do sign language with you, little kid, you're still like a thimble, and this is a big ass, monkey. So even if it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, where's your mama? Like you can't. And she's got the type of mom that comes out there whispering and like, why are you doing this when you should probably be the type of mom grabbing her and getting the hell away from that.
Grab her by the ear and drag her back in the ship. And have you lost your mind?
Exactly.
You're grounded. Agreed on that one, definitely.
I did kind of put in something, seeing as the month of April is about to come to a close, something that I was looking forward to. There is a show called Shadow and Bone, which comes out on April 23rd. By the time people listen to this podcast, it will have premiered already. But this show is based on Lee Bardugo's worldwide best-selling novels, Shadow and Bone, and it finds us in a war-torn world where lowly soldiers and an orphan, Alina Starkov, nothing says fantasy like Starkov is a last name, has just unleashed an extraordinary power that could be the key in setting her country free. There's a monstrous threat of the shadow fold that's looming, and Alina is torn from everything she knows to train as part of an elite army of magical soldiers known as Grisha. But as she struggles to hone her power, she finds that allies and enemies can be one and the same, and that nothing in this lavish world is what it seems. So there are different, dangerous forces at play. Of course, charismatic criminals, and a lot of magic. So I had actually posted a trailer. I don't know if either of you had an opportunity to look at it, but it looks pretty dope. And it's a mature fantasy series, and some of the interviews that I was reading, and I think it's like the previews that the press reviews, early reviews, it's like in the 90-something percentile. So they say that it's like it can get brutal at times. When you watch the trailer, you're like, but then when you see it's like got a mature rating, and then you read some of these reviews, you're like, okay, well, I might be interested in this. So that's what I'm looking for to close out the month. And there are a lot of good things coming up in the month of May as well on Netflix. But that's all I got. Did y'all get a chance to watch a trailer or no?
No, I didn't do my homework.
I mean, I literally posted it not too long ago. I probably should have texted and said, watch it. But it looks pretty cool. And I actually think that they're kind of going to be promoting this a lot. I think they want to drive people towards this one. But if you like fantasy, and like mature fantasy, I know we've all seen, Game of Thrones, and we know that that's
and Witcher and
yeah, and The Witcher. Those are actually two shows that people kind of reference when talking about. But see, for me, I don't like when people reference those shows because I don't want it to be that. I've seen that. So I hope it's its own thing, but definitely the effects look okay, and the characters, at least in the trailer, don't seem cringy. But I'm pretty sure we'll shred it up once we've seen it. But everybody, give Shadow and Bone a chance, because for some reason I just think that this might be their next thing on Netflix.
Nice. I will check it. I'll actually watch the trailer and maybe check out the show when it comes on.
Yeah, I think what is it? April? Yeah, it's like tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah, it drops.
Christy, are you here?
But that's all I got, y'all.
All right, guys. Well, I guess it's my turn to talk about what I've been watching, which, full disclosure, is not a lot because I have hardly turned a TV on. We don't even really have TVs installed up here, so so there's that. I did catch Godzilla and King Kong, but that was before all the madness started. I did also catch Creep's show has started back with its next season, and I did catch the first episode of that, which is 2 shows in 1 episode. First one was okay. The second one was good. I really liked it, so I would recommend y'all give those if you haven't watched. Have you guys watched them?
Is it the second season?
Not the second season. I haven't.
Okay, yeah. It just started like this month, beginning of this month. So, and they're doing the legit thing where they throw a season down a week or an episode a week. So, if you're not into that, yeah, not into that, wait till it's all dropped and then go binge it. But it's good. It's this typical creep show. It's not multi-million-dollar movie presentation, but they do a good job and they tell some good stories. So I have to give them some props on that. Still enjoying it. And then the other night I figured, cause I saw the pressure, cause everybody was like, we're going to talk about what we've been watching. And I was like, I haven't watched anything. So I watched this movie that had been kind of there, and I had been planning to watch it when there was nothing else to watch, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time researching something to watch, so that was like okay, I'm going to finally watch this movie, and it's called VFW, and it got a 6.1 on IMDb. It's a kind of a grindhouse. It's pretty hardcore, lots of blood, lots of gore, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story, and it is what it is. It's great. I enjoyed it. It's about a group of old war veterans put their lives on the line to defend a young woman taking shelter in their local VFW post, who's running from a deranged drug dealer and his relentless army of drug-addled punks. So, yeah. It's got this group of old guys who hang out at the same VFW bar, and hijinks ensue, lots of blood, lots of death, lots of bullshit going on, lots of, drug situation, kind of a town that's been basically ruined due to this new drug out on the market, and I enjoyed it. It's worth a watch if you're in for like a real gruesome movie.
Nice.
So yeah. Neither of you seen that?
No, that sounds like something up my alley, though. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, man, me too. Anything, veterans of foreign wars protecting a young woman at the post. That's probably interesting. And a deranged drug dealer. I don't know. I like the odds of war vets against deranged, drug-addled punks, so to speak. That sounds pretty cool.
I saw a description on the reviews and it kind of sold me to watch it. And I agree with it. It's kind of a non-vampire From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
So I really, it's gruesome.
Which is really not Dusk Till Dawn. Are there titties in it at least?
Probably not boobs. No. Well, lots of death, lots of blood, and lots of people trying to defend themselves in a bar. So that's
Tarantino feet. No, got it.
That's what I was gonna say. I can't get the Salma Hayek toes.
Salma Hayek. No.
All I get is like old veteran knuckle toes.
Old men. Some really hot, like badass, but she's a bad person, who fights and kills people. So she's cute, but she doesn't take her clothes off and dance. So I'm sorry. But with that, moving on. I've talked about this show in the past, and I'm just going to revisit it again because I've binged some more of it, and I'm really, really digging it. And I want to go down to say that to me, it is probably the best paranormal show on TV right now, and that is the Holzer Files. And I had never heard of this guy. Hans Holzers was an Austrian-American author and parapsychologist. He wrote more than 120 books on the supernatural and occult subjects for the popular market, as well as several plays, musicals, films, and documentaries, and hosted a television show, Ghost Hunter. So he passed in like 2009, and his daughter gave this ghost hunter, and then this ghost hunter hired a psychic to revisit his old files. And so every episode is a new place that they're revisiting from these files. And it's fascinating. It really is. I've really, really been enjoying it. I recommend it. It's good. I got hooked on it the other night when I had got home from up here, and I ended up staying up way too late watching this and trying to catch up because I was behind, and it's a great show. The main ghost hunter guy though sounds exactly like Steve from Ghost Hunters. So you're going to do like a lot of double takes when he's talking because he sounds just like him. And I'm like, and he's bald. And it like for a second I thought it was him. I'm like, that's the guy from Ghost Hunters. And then it's not. So just alleviating your questions now. No, it's not.
Where are you watching it? Because I haven't been able to get a hold of it, like streaming wise.
It is. I have it recorded, so let me look it up. Holzer Files.
Because I tried looking. This was a couple weeks ago. You said you were starting to get into it, and I was like, "How cool! Yeah. I want to check it out."
Travel Channel.
Okay. Is that like through Discovery Plus then, or? Because I think I tried regular Discovery Channel through my Sling TV, and I didn't have it. Not to like pop quiz you, but maybe we can talk offline. But yeah, I don't know.
Is Travel Channel the same as Discovery? Is that the same?
Discovery Plus has Travel Channel, and I've noticed lately that my Sling TV, which I don't have full cable, but Sling has travel that now doesn't have all of travel content because they've moved it to Discovery Plus so they can get you to pay another $6 a month for the full content. So that's what I'm assuming. But I have a trial of Discovery Plus right now, so I will look there. So anyway, I might have just answered my own question.
Hey, is Discovery Plus, is that available? Isn't that through Disney Plus or something? Or is one of those other streaming?
Discovery you can get like on Prime, wherever you get HBO Max and all the different, it's just another add-on. So, okay, cool. Like I have mine through Prime, and I got the commercial free because it's the same commercials every fucking 3 minutes. So
okay.
I paid $2 extra for that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
I mean, it says Travel Channel. It's not giving any more dive downs, but I mean, I get it, and I have YouTube TV, so we completely canceled out our cable and got YouTube TV. So if YouTube TV's got it, it's got to be as bargain. I would think bargain basement, but that's just me. But it could just be Rick sometimes gets packages because I bitch and moan, and then he doesn't tell me that we get them, and then they just pop up. So maybe I bitched and moaned enough that he gave me that one. But because I never pay attention to what the hell we're doing with our cable, because we have so many downloadable like apps and stuff that we watch shit through. It's hard to keep track of everything. So with that, yes, Holzer Files. I really, really do recommend this show. It is fascinating, and it's hilarious because the Holzer Files, they always play the Holzer Files before they tackle the main show, and the Holzer guy had the most dramatic psychic you've ever heard, and she's just like, she's very dramatic, and it cracks me up. Very, very extra. So you get a good chuckle listening to her at the beginning, because they're all on tape, like those big old tape players with like the reels, and so they play them, and it's an interesting. It's an interesting conversation that they have. So definitely recommend that one. And then another series I'm watching is Evil Lives Here. And I started binging that one. And it is on, I don't know. I don't know what
I feel like I've seen it, but
it's true crime. But it is basically stories of family members or loved ones telling the story about like a serial killer or a murderer that live with them, and which I find fascinating because I always want to know, like, it's Discovery ID. I always want to know what the hell those family members were dealing with and how did they know, and the behind the scenes of the families when living with somebody who was committing murders. So I've been watching that one. It's really good, and I would recommend it for sure. And then everything else I've been doing is listening to podcasts while I paint. And I started a new podcast called Lost Hills, and it's really good. It's a true crime story series, explores a series of strange shootings at a state park in Malibu, California, one of which ended with the murder of a 35-year-old father in front of his two kids. So this guy was camping in the Malibu State Park and with his two kids, and somebody just randomly shot him in the head through a tent. And when
Jesus.
he dies, it exposes that this shit's been going on for years, and they were kind of covering it up because it's Malibu and they didn't want to introduce anything negative about Malibu because of all the millionaires that live there. And so this reporter kind of started exploring and dealing with stuff from the beginning and is telling the story, and it's really good. So I can't recommend that enough. It's fantastic. And then I've also been doing my old standby podcast, and I listen to them all the time, every week. And so I want to make sure that I give them a shout out because they're my standbys. When I get in that car and I drive, whether it's to work or up to the mountains, these are the ones that I'm looking to see what their new episodes are. And that's Southern Fried True Crime.
I love her. Yeah.
I love her. Her voice is just so amazing. And so I am always looking for her episodes. And then Last Podcast on the Left has been just a huge staple of mine for a long time. They're goofy and ridiculous, but they cover some amazing stuff, and they do the best research they do some of the best research of any podcast I've listened to. So I have to give them both a shout out. They're the first ones I go to when I get in that car. I'm looking to see if I've got new episodes from them. So can't recommend them enough.
Nice. Yeah. Cool.
So with that, Moni.
Strap in your strap on because I've watched a lot of stuff.
Oh, good. I'm ready.
So I watched John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. It's actually a docuseries. And like some of these I watched so long ago, I had to like remind myself what they were. But then when I reminded myself what this was, I got pissed all over again. So there's yet another streaming service called Peacock. And it's for wrestling, and it's like $2 for the next 4 months or some shit. And my husband's been watching all the wrestling on it. So I thought we were going to have that, I should watch this. So we watched The Devil in Disguise, the 6-episode docuseries about John Wayne Gacy, and it's actually told by Gacy himself, who was put to death now. But man, he was an evil serial killer, and we've talked about him multiple times on this show before. But he kind of went to the next level, in my opinion, watching this docuseries, because he was another one of those that, I don't know, did I kill that person that is missing? Maybe I did. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. Oh, you should go dig over here. I'm just kidding. There's nobody there. Like one of those things that didn't allow families that have missing loved ones peace, and really jerked everybody around in his whole process and pulled this whole, like, I didn't do it at all. I did it, and here's all the bodies. There's also an apartment complex where his mother used to live, where he buried, in my humble opinion, he buried other people, and the cops, literally, he was causing so much monetary cost to the city that he was doing all these murders in and prosecuting his crimes and digging up stuff and all the appeals that he did, that the police literally said, we need to stop finding Gacy victims. So while he's screaming that he got framed for more than he actually did, the other side is the cops literally like had a really strong lead on where some more bodies would be found, and like poked the soil and said, okay, nothing to see here, move along.
Really?
So I was like fixing to go to his
Crazy.
hometown. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's still, I think they finally, I literally like Google mapped it. I was so pissed, but, I think they finally put concrete over because the apartment complex is still there. But originally it was just like in just a dirt back lot of this small apartment complex. And I was like, I'm going to go fucking start digging. Like this is going to happen. But, they did concrete over it. But, you know, there's also been people that have brought special equipment or like there's definitely stuff under here. But, you know, the cops don't want any more expense and any more horror on the town, which that part I sort of get, but I feel so bad for the victims' families who probably have lost loved ones to him and will never know because he died. So there's that. I recommend it, but like expect to get pissed off for sure.
Okay.
Slacks. I feel like I told you guys about this one a few weeks ago, but if not, It's on Shudder. It's hilarious. You said no, we are these.
No, I've got to watch it because I think I saw like a trailer for it.
Oh my God. It's like, don't expect anything highbrow, obviously.
It reminds me of the movie that I watched where the red dress kills people. I don't know. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I remember talking about it on an episode where it's a department store dress and it gets possessed and starts killing people. And it sounds very familiar. So now I gotta check this one. Oh, the other movie's called In Fabric. Fabric. And you gotta check that one out if you liked this one, because I guarantee you they're the same.
Okay. Yeah, Slacks it's the world of high fashion in kind of what would be like an H&M store that takes itself super seriously, right? Like a fashion young person store that really is like, oh my God, the designers are going to be here. And so this young girl gets a job there and she's all excited and it turns out like everybody's an asshole. It's a super shitty job, but she's still excited to be part of fashion in this capacity. And these pants, the new pants that are being sold that I think they're supposed to make your butt look specifically like really good.
Sounds like Spanx.
People. Yeah. Yeah. So
funny.
There's special pants that are like supposed to conform to you. And I think you don't even need to have a size. Like you put them on and they've got like smart pant technology. But instead, of course, they start killing people, and they kill people in all kinds of fun, gory ways. And it's low budget probably. It's really fun. So I think it's even less than 90 minutes. It's just pants killing people. It's good times.
I gotta watch that. Sounds great.
Me too.
So this next one that I watched, I'm in a new found footage group on Facebook.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay, I think I added you. Yeah, and they recommend a lot of things that I haven't heard of. And, you know, I think I'm with Yardley on like, you look at things and you're like, oh, it has a 4 rating. I wouldn't usually watch that, but you get desperate. My husband was playing like a 8-hour D&D game one night. My kids were asleep. I'm like, I need to watch something. So I put on The Possession of Michael King, which is actually 2014. It's not a super new movie. It's batshit. It's almost like watching one big like metal music video because it's just like loud music, banging lights, and scary things happening in the lights that are going, that are flickering. But basically, if it had a subtitle, it would be fucked around and found out, because the dude, he loses his wife. Basically, and this is right at the beginning, no spoilers here, but right at the beginning, he goes to a psychic with his wife, and the psychic basically does a semi-vague reading, but basically gets his wife to not go on a trip she was going to go on. And so she ends up somewhere where she ends up getting killed. So he's now a single father. You've seen this one? Okay. So he's now a single father who's an atheist, and he is pissed off at the psychic for making his wife believe stupid shit. And then he starts trying to do a documentary. That's how it's a found footage with his friend about, trying to document. He was basically trying to prove that God and angels and demons don't exist. So he goes to every type of healer, priest, mortuary person, man of science who knows about death. So that, you can use the chemicals from these frogs to simulate death in the human body and go on a trip and see what happens. He basically keeps fucking around with the other side, and the other side fucks around right back. So it's not horrendously scary, but it's creepy. It's not very long. It's got a 5.7 on IMDb, and I think I put where it's located. It's on Prime. So it's free I think it's free to watch, or maybe it's like $1 or $2. I enjoyed it, and I love demon stuff, and it was one of the most, it was a better one of the demon movies that I've seen in a while, put it that way.
Nice. Exciting.
Yeah. Check that one out. This is not a movie, and I almost didn't mention it, but there is kind of it doesn't have a lot of follows or whatever, like on YouTube. It's a YouTube video, and it's about Amber Heard, who, with the whole Johnny Depp thing. The actual YouTube channel is Jared or Depp. I don't know. I put the link to it. I can put it in our Facebook page as well. It's really like creepy. And by that, it puts similarities between Amber Heard's alleged behavior, but also the court documents, interviews with her, times that she was recorded doing things, alongside a lot of moments from the Gone Girl film. And yeah, and her psychiatrist's evaluation of her is very similar to what psychiatrists would diagnose the character in Gone Girl to be. Obviously, luckily for Johnny Depp, things didn't go quite as far, but a whole lot of the behaviors run parallel. And it's about a 25-minute video, and it's deeply creepy to see the similarities. And I'm not saying Johnny Depp was blameless. I'm not saying those two weren't both wrong and didn't both beat the shit out of each other, but just this perspective on it as compared to the behavior of this woman in this movie. Holy shit. Like, Gone Girl's one of my favorite books too. And so that was really interesting to watch the two things. I highly recommend checking that out.
Okay.
Cool.
I've watched a lot of good things because I actually recommend like almost everything else on this list. So, Willy's Wonderland, I actually paid to rent it. Have you guys had a chance to see it yet?
I don't think I've heard of it.
It was on my list, actually.
Okay. It's Nick Cage, and you still have to pay a little bit to rent it, like $5 or $10. But it was 48-hour rental, and I actually had a friend come over and watch it the second time with me. It was so good.
Okay. It's the one where he works at the toy store? And the toys? Okay, no, I haven't seen.
Okay, so he's a loner, and he's driving in this fancy car, and he runs over a spike strip, needs to get his car fixed. Long story short, the place doesn't take card, and he doesn't have enough cash to pay for the whole thing up front. So they tell him, if you spend a night cleaning this, kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese, actually a lot like a Chuck E. Cheese type of place, if you spend the night cleaning it, because we're planning to reopen it at some point, I'll pay, like this rich guy, he's like, I'll pay for your car to get sprung. And so here, spend the night doing that. And in the morning, your car will be right as rain, and I'll bring it up to you and you can go. So he's, if I had to guess, and there's not a lot of explanation, but I like it for that. And not spoilery, but you see in the trailer too, he's nonverbal. I think he might actually be a character that's on the spectrum. Just like he has really, you'll see it's hilarious. He has really habitual, like, behaviors, like obsessive behaviors that he goes through. He follows all the rules. So even when these things are trying to kill him, everything that like his employer told him to do, he's doing. Like it's hilarious. And a group of teenagers try to come help him. And of course, so that's more body count. It's really fun. Lots of cool ways to die. Lots of cool animatronics. Lots of shit that doesn't make sense, but just makes it funnier, honestly. And it's just a fun 90-minute fucking romp. I definitely recommend it.
I look forward to that. Nicolas Cage is also somebody that when I'm scrolling through the seemingly limitless options on these streaming services, there's always a movie that I had no clue that he was in. Like it's just, he's in a ton of stuff that's all over streaming. So I'm pretty sure that Nicolas is still getting that bag, maybe not in huge chunks, but by volume. Yeah, he's still getting it,
Yeah. And go ahead.
He just seems to have finally, like, gotten over himself. Does that make sense? Like, for a while there, he was really obnoxious.
He's in on the
joke.
Exactly. And
now
he's
making fun of himself. Yes.
And cashing in on it. So, I mean, I think that was a very good transformation from him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, Nicholas,
Yeah, I heard he's got a house out close to where I grew up, and I went on a boat tour out there, and somebody pointed out the house. He lost all his money for a while, and I think he kind of had to shut up and get in on his own joke because he needed
absolutely.
a paycheck. So,
Absolutely, because I think a lot of people might not even remember. He used to be a pretty big star. He used to be in some, some big movies.
But it's not like he's the most handsome guy, and it's not like he's the most compelling, great actor you'll ever find. And so he had to get out on his own joke if he wanted to work, really. So
yeah, and he was in Mandy, which I liked, and then he was in another one
Mom and Dad.
He was on Mom and Dad, and then he was in another movie called In the Color of Space or In Color of Space or something like that. It was really, really good, and it was one of the creepier movies that I had seen, and I really enjoyed that one. So he's getting there. He's understanding where his place is, and he's totally rocking it. I'm excited about this one. I remember seeing the preview, and then I forgot about it. So thank you for reminding me.
I've been waiting for the price to go down, and I finally just went fuck it, I'm watching this. So
yeah,
it's not too, it was $20, and it's 10 now. So
yeah.
Yeah, because I always see it, that Color of Space or whatever that you were talking about, Chrissy. I know that it's on discount on iTunes, but also the fact that Nicolas Cage, just like we're saying, he was getting a decent amount of glory for a period of time, and then he kind of, leveled off and went a little downhill. But the fact that he's pushing 60 and still getting all this work, because streaming is the way that it seems like it's going to be, it's going to be the future. You know what I mean? And the fact that he's kind of found his niche. Yeah, absolutely. And and everybody knows that Netflix has that bottomless, you know what I'm saying, pit of money. I don't know where they're pulling all this money from to do this stuff, but I kind of like stories like that because it gives me hope when I get older that I can come up. You know what I'm saying?
Whoop some animatronic creatures' asses with a stick. And the last thing I'll say about it is I was laughing too because I was like, can you imagine paying Nick Cage's salary to have him not say a fucking word in the entire movie? He doesn't make a single thing down. It's so funny, no?
Wow.
You keep waiting for him to react to stuff, and you're just like, okay, nope.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good for him.
When I was looking up Nicolas Cage's age, and he's now 57, and there's literally an article here on Google that says Nicolas Cage blew through 150 million in a few years.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, he was buying he was doing the Michael Jackson route. He was buying all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
He had
Michael Jackson had that endless.
And collecting young wives that would spend his money too, I think. And Elvis paraphernalia and just
tons
houses.
of properties. Yeah, he had a shit ton of properties. He went bankrupt, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. At least when you fuck up like that, you have assets to sell, so that helps.
Yeah.
But that's just one of those. Obviously, if you're a human being, there's always a way how. But I'm just $150 million. How?
Up your nose? I have no idea. Yeah. So.
Yeah. He needs to create an updated Brewster's Millions. Show us how you did that.
Him and Mike Tyson, all these guys that lost it all and came back.
It's just that scowl that he has. It's he got an 8-ball in his pocket. You know what
I mean? And then the next one that I saw, much less exciting. I liked it. It's a little slow, and ironically, it's about power shutting off, and it's in the dark, and it's almost too dark, to tell what the hell's going on. But I still liked it. It's called The Power. It's on Shudder. And it's set in 1973 when a brand new nurse on her first night at an asylum, and they had me at asylum, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's working at a women's asylum, and they're facing power shutoffs in England. And so her first night at work, she's going to be on a ward that's pretty much completely dark. And I was expecting more creepy stuff from the patients, but actually I liked it that the staff was really the ones creating a lot of really wicked problems. It's a big allegory for what women go through. I won't spoil it too much, but it is really interesting. And just if you like obviously not the same type of movie, but if you like promising young women like Christy, I know you do. There was that other one that I watched recently. also on Shudder. There was a modern one where the woman was a writer and she kept reliving the same shit over and over again. It was all because like the trauma from men. Anyway, The Power is good. It's not great, but it is satisfying in its conclusion, especially for women who have been there. So I would recommend that one. Okay, so the next one I super recommend, and my husband saw it too and really liked it. The Mortuary Collection on Shudder.
I forgot about it. I watched.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Did you watch it recently or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
When it was one of the recommended ones on Shudder, like a couple of months ago.
Okay.
I watched it. Yes.
I had heard good things, and for some dumb reason, I was like, I'm not going to like that. It's going to be dumb. I don't know why I thought it was going to be dumb, but I really enjoyed it. It is basically, how to explain it. It's a series of short stories, that the mortician is a really old eccentric mortician is telling this young woman who he's just employed. And then there's a big twist at the end that's super fun and satisfying, and it's got humor. It's got super fucked up stories, and I super recommend it.
Yeah, it's like kind of like Tales from the Crypt, but more on like less political, more just random stuff.
Yeah.
And, who's the guy? Who's the mortician? Who is that? I can't think of his name
right now.
He's so fantastic.
Is his name Montgomery Dark, the character? Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown. Is that the actor's name?
I'm looking at the full list, but I can't tell who's who because they don't look the same as they do in the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know which one it is. Yes. I don't know his name, but yes, I'm just looking it up really quick. But yes, it's good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was different, and yes.
It's almost like Lemony Snicket horror, though, just the way everything looks, the way everything's stylized.
Yes. Yeah, it was great.
So recommend that one. It has 6.4. So at least that you know it's worth watching. And then something I don't recommend, but so, and Christy, once you're done with your craziness, and Yardley, of course, always too, you guys are invited. I sent you the itinerary weeks ago, though, Christy. I am going to the Villisca Axe Murder House and to Edinburgh Manor, both in Iowa. I'm going to go in October, so it's a while from now, but me and my girlfriend, it's her birthday that month, and so we're going to do a bunch of spooky shit in Iowa. There's a bunch of really great cemeteries, but Ghost Adventures did the Axe Murder House. I haven't watched it yet, but they also did the Edinburgh Manor, and we're planning to stay overnight there. So I hate Ghost Adventures, as you all know, but I do like basically living vicariously and traveling through the eyes of whomever goes there. So it was fun to watch. It's on Discovery Plus now, and I think Hulu has the episodes too. Ghost Adventures is everywhere, but good luck finding like the entire list of all the episodes. Anyway, Edinburgh Manor still stands and is available for overnight ghost hunts, but there is an entity, and this is real, a real place, known as the Joker, that terrorizes people who enter the manor. And they actually, at the beginning of the episode, and who knows how real it is, but they had a girl go in as bait, and she got choked or kind of scratched from behind kind of thing, and you saw it. So it's kind of interesting. I'm curious what we'll find, if anything, when we go there. But you know how I like to explore those old asylums, and it was like a TB asylum and a few other things since 1883 or something like that. So Anyway, yeah, so check us out when we're in Iowa. Hopefully we make it back in one piece. Not many people are like, I'm going to go vacation destination in Iowa. So,
At a haunted house.
At multiple haunted houses for sure. We're staying at an inn, like a B&B that actually is another haunted location. There's all kinds of stuff. So, and then the last thing that I watched that I can remember anyway, Ed Gein, The Real Psycho. It's on Discovery Plus, and it's apparently, I guess this is a thing, I've never seen any of their other docs, but it's called shock docs, as in shock documentaries. It chronicles the horrific crimes of Ed Gein, documentary film producer and paranormal investigator Steve Shippey, and world-renowned psychic medium Cindy Kaza traveled to Gein's hometown in Plainfield, Wisconsin, to conduct investigations of the most haunted locations connected to Gein. So I was really surprised because so many, we were just talking about Gacy, they tore down his original house. And I think, but like Ed Gein's farm properties is still there. And there's like this lame little chain that just says like no trespassing, but you just like walk right past it. So you can go there, and I don't think anybody will bother you either, probably. And there's also the hardware store where I think it was his first known victim, where he actually like lured the lady into the back and killed her. Yeah. So they go there as well. They do like seance stuff. And, it got more extra as the show went on. And I don't know, because I usually kind of know about like equipment used for these investigations, but they had some kind of voice manipulator that sounded like super creepy. And they supposedly got something to talk through it that was saying like that it wanted to stab you. And it was creepy. Even if it's fake, it was a fun watch. Cindy Kaza, I had never seen Cindy Kaza, this medium, before. Towards the beginning and until about the middle of it, her interaction with things was very similar to my own experiences as far as like how she perceives this stuff. So I was like, she seems legit. And then by the end, it was just like, everything's a demon, everything is haunted, and we're in grave danger and super extra, but it was still fun to watch. Yeah, it's like an hour or whatever. And again, it's kind of the same concept for me as watching Ghost Adventures, where places I'll probably never get to go, and I definitely will probably never get to touch like Ed Gein's axe or any of the things that he used to kill people. So to see some other people get to do all that is interesting, and I do recommend it on a lazy day when you're looking for content. So Ed Gein, The Real Psycho on Discovery Plus.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow, that was a great list.
That was lots
of stuff you guys have given us.
There's stuff I'm excited for. Handmaid's Tale drops a week from today, I want to say. Next Wednesday, which by the time that this episode drops will probably be out, on Hulu. And I'm curious because I finally finished reading the sequel to the first Handmaid's Tale book, and I'm curious if they're going to take this season, that way. So we'll see.
Is this the fourth or the fifth season?
Fourth, I want to say. And honestly, they're going to run out of story at some point. And spoilers, June isn't in the book, the second book, like directly. So I'm super curious, like, if that actress is going to start playing less of a part if they do step into the next book. I don't know what they're going to do. June can only go so far in the danger she's always been in.
No kidding.
And yeah, right. And then there's a Netflix, I think it's a documentary, I should have checked, coming on Netflix. I already said that. May 5th, so Cinco de Mayo, you can get your tacos and your beer and watch Sons of Sam. And it might end up being like the Cecil series that gets super like kind of dumb and over the top extra. But usually, before that one, Netflix had a great track record with these documentaries. It's got some new theories as to like multiple killers that, were responsible for the Son of Sam murders. We'll see. I'm going to check it out either way, and maybe you guys can watch along with me.
Okay.
Well, awesome.
Wow.
Ian, girl, you were on it. All right. Well, with that, first I would like to extend an congratulations or a congratulations, whichever Moni decides to pick on her. Is it vice presidency or what was that you were getting?
So she's referring to the ALA Graphic Novel and Comics Roundtable. I'm finishing my term as member at large and was voted. It's vice president the first year, so it's president-elect, but you automatically become president the second year, and then you stay on for a term as what's called past president and kind of advise the new kids for a third year.
Cool.
So, yeah, I have 3 more terms or 3 more years as in a presidential role with the ALA, and I'm super excited about it. And I also gave up my seat at Creators Assemble and organically got voted back on to my own board, so because I wanted to give my Creators Assemble team a chance to make a decision as to whether I was the best person to lead the organization. So I'm happy to be representing them as well. And I know Yardley and Christy were 2 of our donors. For any of you who donated to the Make-A-Wish project, there's been a snag. First of all, the well, not a snag. This wasn't something we knew, which we created a book for a little boy. He did end up passing away, but he did get the book before he passed, and his family has a lot of extras with the book, and they made a locket for his sister to keep with her character in it. So real bittersweet. But to those of you who donated to make that project happen, I owe you all a copy of the collected book that has all the different kids' pictures. Unfortunately, we ran into a snag because the characters were rendered as Disney, Marvel, and DC characters because those were the kids' favorite things. And I'm now in the process of getting permission from Disney, Marvel, and DC to put the dang book out. So I owe everybody who donated a copy, but I am in an unenviable legal tangle with all of that right now. I have not forgotten you, and we are forever appreciative, and I just wanted to give an update that the book got done. All the kids that received it, we just actually today delivered our last 3 illustrations for some more critically ill kids. They're so happy with their illustrations. It's totally worth it. But have patience with us on getting you this book. I'm so sorry. So
as long as the kids get their books, I'm fine with.
Kids got their books and their illustrations and framed and delivered and happy kids.
That's awesome. So. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah. So and actually one of our listeners is now, congratulations to Stephanie on the board for Creators Assemble.
What? That is awesome.
She actually put in,
Shut up.
Yeah, she filled out the little questionnaire kind of thing, and we decided she was a wonderful fit for our organization, and we're very excited to be working with her.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Stephanie. That's fantastic. She's so great.
Oh,
yeah.
I love when we meet people. I mean, I don't call them fans. They're just people that stumble across the show and reach out. They reach out and we start talking, organically start talking to a few of them, and they just turn out to be super awesome people. So That's wonderful. That's great. Congratulations, Stephanie. Congratulations, Moni. And I'm glad that the books did reach the children before they passed. That's sad. Oh, God. All right. I don't want to end things on a crying note, but I am now crying. So with that, you guys.
Happy thoughts. I wrote 2 shows, so I don't know which one I'm going to do next week, but we're going to do another one, and you're going to like it. So, yeah.
Well, they'll like it, or they will just stop playing. They'll hit the stop button, and they'll move on with their lives, won't they? They won't write us bad reviews. No. They'll write us good reviews. With that, you guys, thank you for being patient. I know we've been kind of hot and cold with getting our shows out. It's entirely my fault. And life hits you. I never in a million fucking years thought I would have a property and I would be working on it right now. But
it's a beautiful house. Congratulations again on it. And it's not your fault. Life happens.
Oh, so. It does happen, but it's been a stress of mine that I had to step away from the podcast, and so I'm glad that we got to do another episode. And all I can say is, you know what, you guys, when you dream something and you make it happen, I mean, I think we are all 3 kind of we're examples of that. We're all kind of living the things that we love to do. And unfortunately, the podcast isn't our full-time job. So we try to make it happen when we can. Speaking of, if you can hear that military plane flying over.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. You hear that?
That's one way to end the show.
Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like a freaking UFO flying
I think
over.
I actually heard it at my house from there. So
that's crazy. Anyway, all right, you guys. Well, with that, I will close this show. Thank you, guys. Thank you to my hosts for always working with me and working around me and stepping in when I couldn't do stuff. And thank you to all our listeners once again. We will try to bring you guys some really fun content this year. And with that, catch you on the flip side.
I'm on the flowers, but I'm not Scott Pilgrim. Stop feeling when they stop killing Krillin. I did it wrong, you've been hard in a minute. I just be looking for the line to finish. I say I didn't when you know that I did it. So I lose it, even shit.